What's going on, man? It's your boy Jay Holley, and we are back for another episode of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, episode Deuce 3. Jordan, baby, 23. Woo! That makes this episode even better. We going Jordan style for this episode. You know what you guys like to do: like, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend. Thank you. You are all far too kind. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I promise you, I am so thankful for that. But spread the word, man. Let people know what it is. I am Jesse Holley, the sports talk equivalent of Braille. People feel me when I speak. And you guys know how I like to get down. Before I get into my show and I get into the facts and the figures of the sports world that we live in, I had to give my motivation off the top, from the beginning. Because let's be honest, some of y'all ain't going to make it to the end. And that's okay. But give me 3 listens for 15 minutes, and I promise you, you might like me. I know it's a big promise, but you might like me. But give me 3 listens, and I might be able to sway you. 15 minutes, 3 shows. Pick it. I got 23 of them. Pick any show that you want, and you might fall in love. But all right, let me start with this positivity up front. I'm going to walk you a little bit into my world. Don't worry about it. I paid for this therapy session already, but I'm going to give a little bit to you. And today's message is simple, but it's complex, and I hope that it hits home. And it goes like this: it is easy to get addicted to problems. It is easy to get addicted to problems. A lot of times, our past decisions impact our current situations. If I were to ask you, what past decisions that you made that impacts your current situation today, most of you, like myself, will begin to pick out all of the bad, the wrong, the negative, the not so good decisions. Because somewhere along in our minds, we think that those negative situations and decisions that we make, those problems, we get so addicted to them that they become how we judge and what we do in our current situation. Well, I'm here to tell you and encourage you, like, we got to start looking back and start picking out those positive dubs, those positive wins that we've had in life. Don't worry, this therapy session is already paid for. I've already taken care of it. But far too often, we get so addicted to the problems of life, both past and present. And what it does, it mitigates and it eliminates the positive things that we've done. I can sit here all day and be like, if someone said, man, how is Unfiltered with Jesse Holley going, man? And the first thing I'll say was, it's going good, but, I don't have 100,000 subscribers yet. And automatically your mind begins to go into this place of, well, I don't got this and I don't got that. When I should really be saying, man, Unfiltered is going great. Man, do you know that last episode, over 3,000 people decided that they were going to spend an hour of their life and their time watching me? Wow, what an accomplishment that is. And we have to look at all of the dubs that we get in life, no matter how small, as wins, and let those be the things that propel us to make our current situation even better. Do not get addicted to the problem. They're easy. In fact, some of the problems are like fentanyl. It's like drugs, and it's easy to get, and always is woe is me, and I can just lay on to you, oh, well, my life was this and my life was that, and woe is me, and all the bad things, and I'm like, wait a second. I'm sitting here today because I won a lot. You're sitting here today watching me because you won a lot. There are far more positive, impactful, great things about your life than the problems. Don't allow yourself to get addicted to the problems. Look back every now and again and go, wow, I've accomplished that. If it's something simple as, you know what? I ain't know how I was going to pay the bills this month, but I got it done. That's a victory. That is a victory that should be celebrated. I ain't saying you got to go to the club and pop bottles. But what I'm saying is, don't overlook those things. Don't allow yourself to fall so deep into the problem pit that you never get out and you never get a chance to enjoy your accomplishments. Thank you to the over 3,000 people that watched my last episode. Thank you. No, it ain't 100,000, but shoot, there was 3,000 folks that thought of me enough to take 60 minutes, 90 minutes of their day when they could have been doing anything. They could have been sleeping. They could have been eating Cheerios. They could have been walking the dog. They could have been doing 100 other things. And I am thankful for that. That's a dub. That is a dub. The fact that I get a chance to come into this studio each and every week is a dub. The fact that I'm able to sit here and all my bodily functions are still good, dub. The fact that I am healthy, dub. The fact that I can still put gas in my car, dub. The fact that I can open my refrigerator and there's actually food in there, dub. There's been times where it wasn't. It's a dub. It's a dub. Do not allow yourself to get addicted to your problems. It's easy, and you'll find yourself in the problem pit so deep that you'll never get a chance to see the pure and true light of all your wins. Continue to look at those things. Continue to cherish those moments. Continue to want to have more of those moments and let the dubs of your life, of your past, because tomorrow, my past is today. So I want the dubs of today to dictate my future circumstances, not my problems. All right? All right, man. Don't get addicted to the problems. Get out of the problem pit. Start enjoying those dubs. All right, man, here we go. Breaking down this week. We are done with the beat down from last week. I shouldn't even brought it up, but hey, it's my last time talking about it, maybe. The Niners game is over. We are on to the new thing. The Cowboys take on the LA Chargers. Monday Night Football in, what is that now? Los Angeles, right? The LA Chargers. It's the Los Angeles, absolutely. And when you look at this team, here's a wild stat. And I hope it isn't true for us. The stat is 1-15. And you're saying, Jess, what is 1-15? What is that? What does that mean? What is the number tied to? What is the number than that? 1-15 is the record of teams after they play the Niners in the last two seasons. 1-15. So the team that played the Niners that week, the next week, they lose. The only other team that escaped that was this year, and it was the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost to the Niners and then won their next game. So I'm hoping that the Cowboys are able to add another one to that list when they take on the Los Angeles Chargers. And this one is, I don't know if the Cowboys know this or not, but here's one thing for sure. Two things for certain, one thing for sure. There are times when players, coaches, you remember the Michael Jordan in Last Dance? And Michael was always looking for something to make it personal. Michael even made up stories that weren't even true, just to get a competitive edge to make it feel like that. Well, I can tell you for certain that Kellen Moore, he circled this game. Now, I hope that when he circled this game, we circle his eye, not the other way around like it was last week. But the players, too, circled this game. You watched last week when the Denver Broncos played the Jets, and that whole debacle where Sean Payton had said Nathaniel Hackett did one of the worst coaching jobs in the world. And those players were like, we want to win for us. We want to win for coach, too. At the end of that game, the Jets win that game. What do? They gave out one game ball. Robert Saleh gave out one game ball at the end of that game, and that was to Nathaniel Hackett after they won that football game. So if you think for 1 second that this won't be a personal game for the Chargers, you think for 1 second that those guys, at least on the offensive side of the ball, isn't looking at this game as a statement game for them, a personal game for them. They want to win one for the Gipper. You're wrong. You are wrong. And I hope the Cowboys and company feel the same way. I hope they look at this game and go, this game will be personal as well. And I think for the Cowboys as a whole, and maybe I'm rambling a little bit, but I think for the Cowboys as a whole, you have to understand this. I was privy, I'm privileged, okay? Let's just be honest, all right? I am privileged. One of the privileges that I had in my life, and I'm not ashamed to say that I'm privileged. That's not a thing to be ashamed of. But one of the privileges I had in my life was I was a part of a national championship basketball team for the University of North Carolina. Go Heels. But within that, I understood that no matter where we went, no matter who we played, it was personal. Whether it was another blue blood, Kentucky, the school in Durham, you name it, it was personal. Whether we played a directional school, it was personal. I remember the year that we won the national championship game, we lost to Santa Clara. Santa Clara, I don't think they shot the ball as well as they did at any other junction of the season. But when the University of North Carolina walked in, it became personal for them. Their season was complete if they beat us. When we were up and teams beat us, it was the best thing since sliced bread. Even when we were down. But because of the legacy and the history of that university, of my university, of that basketball team, what it stood for, what it meant, everybody gave us their best shot. They didn't care if we were 15-0 or 0-15. North Carolina was embroidered across our chests. And there was a legacy that lived with that. And so everybody wanted to knock us off. And I think with the Cowboys, they have to understand every stadium that you go into, every team that you face, that star on the helmet, people look at that, and even though you haven't been to a Super Bowl or sniffed the Super Bowl in 27 years, there's this level of, you know what? They talk about the Cowboys every day on TV. They in the A block and B block of everybody's show on TV. The Cowboys are the most recognizable franchise in all of sports. They're worth all these billions of dollars. Everybody wants to talk about them. They got the biggest stadium. They have the biggest jersey sale. They have the this and that and this and that. So yeah, for you to not go into a game and thinking it's personal, that's a lack of awareness on your part. If you're a Cowboy player on the roster and you don't understand that every single game that you go into, that someone's trying to, as my therapist called it, have a legacy beat down on you, then you're delusional. You are delusional. Coaches and players alike, when they play, they don't have the same. Excuse me for the Cleveland Brown fans. I don't mean to knock on you guys, but no one's saying they want to go into the dog pound and knock off Cleveland. It's no one says that. Maybe the Bengals or maybe the Ravens. You guys have a little beef in that area, but the overarching view on the Browns isn't that if we beat the Browns, we've done something. But when you beat the Cowboys, it matters in a different way than when you beat the Browns or the Jaguars or whoever, Houston. So going into this game for the Cowboys against the Chargers, you got to understand something. This is bigger than just a normal game. They're looking at this game and saying, you know what, they kind of shipped Kellen Moore out. Kind of was like, you know, we kind of want to do our own thing now, so you go ahead. Get skedaddle. They're going to try to run the score up. Now, will it happen? I don't know. But when you look at this roster, offensively and defensively for the Chargers, if we just did roster for roster, and I mean with any team in the National Football League, with the Cleveland, with the Chargers roster, they hands down have one of the best paper. Hear what I'm saying? Paper rosters in all of football. Now, what they do when they actually get on the field, horse of a different color, conversation for another day. But on paper, and you look at the names, quarterback, left tackle, running back, receivers, tight ends, 2 monster edge rushers, solid linebackers, good safety, good corner. I mean, like they are good kicker, Dicker the kicker. Like they're a sound roster from top to bottom. They give you all of the components that you need to be a good team. Now, what happens when you get on the field? You and I both know that's a different conversation for a different day. Sometimes the curl don't curl all the way over. It don't quite. You know what I'm saying? That curl don't. But when you look at this team defensively, and I'll talk about their defense first and the Cowboys' offense, and I'll get into the flip side of it later on this week. But when you look at what they do defensively, they are primarily going to be in a what we call a two-high, cover two-high shell, right? Two safeties up top, two corners here. They're going to play. They don't want to give up the big play. But within that, you give up the middle of the field. Right, they're gonna play their traditional 4-3 front. They'll mix it up a little bit to make it look like a 3-4. They may have Joey Bosa back this week. He's been out a little bit with the groin/hamstring and a toe injury, but it looks like he's on pace to play. So now you got Joey Bosa, who's one of the top pass rushers in the league, and then you got Khalil Mack on the other side. Oh, by the way, Khalil Mack is second in the league in sacks. He has 6. You want to know when he got those 6? Last game, all in one game. Against the Raiders, 6 of them boys. That's personal for him. That's a personal situation for Khalil. So, but right now he's in his bag. So you look at that and you're saying, "Whoa, this Joker came off a 6-sack game." Now that's unheard of, right? But Khalil Mack is more than capable of getting 2 or 3 sacks a game. More than capable. More than capable. And so you look at what they want to do, and they'll blitz sometimes off the edge, but for the most part, their MO is we don't want to give up the big plays, which they sometimes do, but we're going to rally and tackle. We're going to keep everything in front of us. We're going to rally and tackle. We're going to keep everything in front of our face. And for Dak, honestly, when he has to play through zones, now if there's anything that a Kellen Moore can kind of give the defense heads up on when it comes to a player, not much. Like, there's nothing that you can find out about Dak that you can't find out about watching film yourself, right? There's no secret to the thing. But what Kellen Moore can give them is he can give them the heads up on, hey, man, Dak really likes this throw. He kind of struggles with this throw. Now, you can't dictate what throws he's going to make or anything like that, but you can say he's not comfortable making this throw. That's about it. That's pretty much all you get because that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's not much you can just tell a defense from an offensive side of things that they can actually put into play right there in the moment because so much is happening. They're not going to remember like, oh, yeah, right hash, this number. No, it's not. But defensively, you know that for Dak, he struggles a little bit when Dak has to read through a ton of garbage. What I mean by that is when he has to read through a bunch of different people and things of that nature, and the clock is going off in his head, he sometimes makes the bad decision. Being able to read, from one side of the field to the next, he can sometimes get a little bit disoriented in that process, and that's when you see the mistakes happen, the ball sailing, the ball on the ground, the ball behind, and ultimately the worst part of it is the ball being intercepted. And, of course, coming off a 3-interception game last week, I think he's looking to get back right. And one of the things that the Cowboys have to help themselves in a way is creating some of the bigger plays. They haven't been able to do that. They have one play of 40-plus yards in 5 games. The Cowboys right now rank 31st in air yard completed passes, meaning the amount of the ball leaving Dak's hands being completed to a receiver. They're 31st in the league. 6.6 yards per air yards completion. That means that they're throwing the ball quick, yes, but they're throwing it very short. They're throwing it very, very short. To give you an example of that, on the other side, Justin Herbert, he's throwing it at least 10 yards per air travel completion. Now, I know that doesn't seem like a much, but it is. The Cowboys have one 40-plus yard play. And this is another defense. We talk about playing a too-high shell. is that they're not giving up the big plays over the top. Now, where they do give up the plays at is in the middle of the field. Because understand, the safeties now in a two-high shell have to get off of the hashes, that's those little tick marks in the field, and play over the top. So that means that that middle of the field is now open. And the Cowboys have to find a way to utilize the tight ends, to utilize the receivers, getting over in motion, play action, because those linebackers are already not dropping deep. They now have to be able to come up, step up, if the play action is working for them well, and now you can kind of hit them over the top. But this is something that they have to be willing to incorporate into their game. And to Dak credit, to Dak's defense a little bit, tight ends, receivers, got to catch the football. One of the things that I've realized, especially from the receiver perspective, in watching the Cowboys from in the last couple of weeks, but in the two losses, is the wide receivers aren't getting separation. They aren't getting at the line of scrimmage. And this goes for CeeDee Lamb. This goes for Brandon Cooks. This goes for Jalen Tolbert. This goes for Michael Gallup, Kevontae Turpin. They're not getting separation at the line of scrimmage. They're not getting separation within the route. And they're not getting separation at the top of the route. So sometimes when a quarterback is looking, he's saying, boy, I want to throw it there, but there's no separation. There's no separation there, so that's when you see Dak hold on to the ball a little bit longer, trying to hope for some separation to come. And the routes that they're running aren't routes that you throw or you lead a person open. It's more so, I got to put it on you. That's why I want to see the Cowboys kind of run a little bit more of those deep over routes. If I can use speed coming across the field with that middle of the field open, I can hit it right in between those safeties and then come out the back end. But Dak has to be aware this weekend, Asante Samuel Jr. A lot of y'all remember his daddy, Asante, when he was with the Patriots. He was a master of playing that zone coverage and baiting you into throwing. And I kind of let you think, oh, yeah, you can throw the ball behind me on a corner route or some sort of in-the-hole shot or something shallow coming across where you think he doesn't see it and now all of a sudden he crosses in front of it. Interception. Like, those are the type of things that you have to look at when you're playing against this defense. For the Cowboys, they have the weapons. They do. They have the weapons to go out there and be successful. But even Brian Schottenheimer talked about it in this week's interviews. He's been surprised that there hasn't been more separation with his receivers. And that's kind of led to a little bit of we've all seen it. The CeeDee Lamb kind of disgruntled, some may call it diva. And all receivers have a little diva in them. As a former receiver myself, we all have a little diva in us, especially when you're in your contract year. You want to get paid. And when your numbers aren't projecting you to get paid like you think you're going to get paid, I'd be a little upset too. But on the other hand, I got to be better. CeeDee has to be better. I talked to a reliable source inside the Cowboys building, and this source told me that CeeDee Lamb and Mike McCarthy had a little cup of Jesus moment. Little powwow, little player to coach, little man-to-man conversation. I'm assuming that the conversation was about your body language, your attitude, your demonstrative actions on the field, you standing on the sideline 20 yards away from your teammates, the bickering, the moaning, the public display in the media of your happiness, so to speak, with what we're doing offensively or what your role is offensively. I'm assuming that what the conversation was about. Now, normally, when your wide receiver number one is having some public outrage, it's usually a good sign next game. Remember like a week ago, Jamar Chase of the Bengals was like, you know what? I'm always open. I'm always effing open. 7-11. I'm always open. Next week, 16 targets, 14 catches, 187 yards. Stephon Diggs say that next week, 14 targets, 11 catches, 140-something yards. So if it's trending if I complain publicly, if I show out publicly, I have this powwow, my quarterback sees it, my OC sees it, this may be a game where now you're looking at CeeDee getting off somewhere between, 14 to 16 targets. And I think for CeeDee, and I told you guys that I thought CeeDee was going to have a year where he got into that conversation of the Tyreek Hills, of the Justin Jeffersons, of the Chases of the worlds, because that's what he wants to get paid like, that he was going to take that next step, and it's not happening right now. This is one of those games where he's going to come back and be like, yeah, see, I'm him. I'm Timothy Lamb. I hope so, because the Cowboys need it. They need some big plays from this offense. They need some big plays from their number ones. Like, for CeeDee to be a number one receiver and not to be treated as such is a waste of time. Is a waste of talent. Like, this is a guy who shouldn't look up. He shouldn't look up after multiple games where he's he's targeted 6 times, targeted 7 times. No, that's the number 2, 3 type of action. Don't treat me like the side piece. Don't just give me the quickie. Which I'm not saying nothing wrong with quickies. I'm not saying nothing wrong with quickies. They're essential. They're good in life. I'm just saying the bottom, the down chick, she not gonna want. Don't give me side piece attention. CeeDee's like, I'm the main. I'm one. I'm him. Don't treat me like 2 and 3. Don't treat me like that. Treat me with the level of respect. Take me to dinner. Call me every day. Talk to me every day. I want the good morning text. I want the text that said you eat today. I want the text that say just thinking about you. Don't just send me the text with, like, I'm trying to come through. Nah, don't send that to me. Nah. I ain't 2. I'm 1. So I get it. I get CeeDee's frustration. But on a larger scale, CeeDee, you have to be a professional. You can handle your personal matters in a personal situation behind closed doors. Because what you're doing on the field isn't helping your overall situation. You look like what people already say about receivers. They're divas. They're attention seekers. Then the competitive spirit gets mixed and confused with being a distraction. Ask the other 88 about that. When he was at the top of his game, oh no, it's passion. It's enthusiasm. It's what we want in our locker room. When his skill set didn't match what they wanted anymore, or the pay didn't match that anymore, it's a distraction. It's unbecoming of what we are as an organization. The same folks that were saying it was passion and enthusiasm and loved it, the fire for the team, were the same ones calling it a distraction. Were the same ones saying that's unacceptable. So just understand, as you're trying to navigate through this whole contract situation, you always have to handle yourself accordingly. You can't, even though the numbers aren't there, you can't give them more of the reason not to want to pay you the money. Or anyone else, for that matter. But the Cowboys, they have a chance. They have a chance to get back off of the snide. They have a chance to kind of put last week behind them. They should put last week behind them. Nothing, if you're still dwelling on what happened last week, if you're still licking the wounds, probably some of y'all probably are. If you're still licking the wounds that happened last week, then you're setting yourself up for a major letdown on Monday Night Football. Major letdown. Offensively, Dak, put the 3 INTs behind you. They're done. They're done. You got 2 things that you can do. Like the other day, inspiration or desperation. You got 2 things that you can do. You can put those 3 INTs behind you, and you can go out there and ball out, or you can compound the problem. 3 turns into 5. Or you can say, you know what? 5 TDs are going to turn into 8. You have the ability. You have the opportunity. Talk about focusing on your dubs and not being addicted to problems. The next opportunity is right upon you. It's in front of your face. The Cowboys got to get back to running the football. You can run the football on the edges on this Chargers defense. Get under center. A little bit of play action pass. Get those linebackers to cheat up, wanting to stop the run. And then deliver the ball over their heads. You gotta, Brian Schottenheimer, Mike McCarthy, if you're listening. I don't know if you guys are watching the show. I would like you to. Like and subscribe while you're doing it. Go to Apple, go to Spotify, however you want. You're sitting in the office, just press play. Let me be background noise to you. I can help you. I probably can't, but let my voice be the soothing of your soul. Please. But you got to find a way to get this team back. You don't want this thing to spiral out of control. You got to get back to that. You got to get back to the things that you do well. You got to get back to the things that you know is going to bring you success. The Cowboys haven't had a true problem in the 2 losses they've had, but for the most part, being able to move the ball up and down the football field in between the 20s. We know what the red zone situation has been. This defense is going to allow you to move the ball up and down the field. They tighten up in the red zone. They do. They play much better defense in the red zone. So you know how you combat that? You know how you combat the issue of playing in the red zone against a team who's really good in the red zone? You score from outside the red zone. You score in a chunk play capacity. You get a couple 40-plus play touchdowns. You bust a 40-yard run, a 35-yard run. Then you have to worry about the red zone situation. Like, you don't have to get into the red zone. Like, I know the red zone is the money zone, and you know, people score there at a high percentage, but you don't have to get there to score. It's not a mandatory thing. You can get to the end zone far other ways than just getting to the red zone. The Cowboys have to take advantage of that, and they too. If we did paper rosters, the Cowboys on a paper roster would be a top 3 to 5 roster in the league. And sometimes they meet up to it, the expectations of the roster. Sometimes they don't. I'll tell you this. Do I think the Chargers are a good football team? Yes. Yes, I do. Do I think the Chargers are on the same level of the Niners? No, I do not. I don't think there's many teams that are on the level of the Niners right now. Like, I think right now, if you picked a neutral site, and this may be a betting site somewhere that you can probably go put a parlay on it or put a prop bet on it. But if you picked right now, currently sitting today, the Niners on a neutral field against anyone, maybe one other team that they would probably take over the Niners. And that's probably the Chiefs. I don't think they're going to pick any other team. And if they pick the Chiefs, it won't be by a lot. Maybe 1 or 2 points. So I say all that to say that you're not going to face a team of that caliber with that much talent and discipline and overall just absolute dog. But you're going to face some good teams. And if you don't play up to your potential and you don't play up to the standard that we know you can play at, then you'll be licking your wounds again. But you have the ability. This team is very much beatable. This team is very much beatable if you play to the level in which I think. I mean, 4 weeks ago I was praising your name on high. I told y'all football is very fluid, like water. It changes every single week. 4 weeks ago I was praising you. I was calling y'all. I was generational this and good that and bad on my part. But at that time it looked that way. Get back to that. Nothing has changed in what you guys have the ability to do. Yeah, you ran into a buzzsaw. But you can get back to your winning ways starting this week. All right, let's move on to around the sports world. Sweep, 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 sweep. Let's go Rangers. Let's go Rangers. The Rangers sweep the Orioles 3-0 to move on to the ALDS? CS. The ALCS. They just won the ALDS. The ALCS. What a dominating performance. Nathan Eovaldi went out last night and pitched a gem of a game. Can I say a gem of a game? A gem of a game. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, 7 Ks, no batters walked. I mean, he was in his zone. And I gotta give my boy Taylor some credit because Tay, you told me. You could say I told you so. It's okay. You can say it. Oh, now he doesn't want to say it. Now he wants to be all Mr. Humble. Well, you know what I said. I gotta give you credit. I was a doubter. Tay wasn't. He said, "I'm telling you," and he broke it down, and it's all coming to fruition. It's all happening the way that you said it was going to happen. Pitching is coming around. And the one thing about pitching that you want to have a good pitcher, give them some early runs. If you give a pitcher some early runs and a little bit of cushion, they feel a little bit comfortable. And that's exactly what Nathan Eovaldi got last night. Start the game, what happens? Corey Seager, bottom of the first, bomb. Bomb. Who, if it wasn't for the alien of a player in Shohei Ohtani, Corey Seager he would definitely be in the MVP. He's in the MVP competition already, but he would definitely be someone you can look at and go, this dude's. I'm just saying. Now I get it. No one. As long as Ohtani keeps doing what he's doing, and he's pitching and he's hitting and he's got 40+ home runs and he got 10 wins as a pitcher, you can chalk it up. You can just chalk it all up. Unless the voters get voters fatigue, you can chalk it up. If he's getting 10+ wins as a pitcher, hitting over 40 home runs, just start etching his name in the AL MVP category every single year. But Corey Seager was one that was in that conversation. But it gets even better. Bottom of the second, Garver drove in 2 runs on a double up past the shortstop. Now you look up, it's 3-0. And then OL Bombay showed up. Let me say this as well. I'm not a jewelry guy. I got a nice little charm piece, but I'm not a jewelry guy. Baseball players have the best chains in all of sports. They have the best chains. If you watch a baseball game, you're going to see a plethora of different chains. Icy, too. Icy. Cuban links. I mean, you name it. They got them. They have I'm always looking like, man, they got the best chains out there. Who was that? Mookie Betts one time had the black diamond necklace and it popped on the field. There's diamonds everywhere. But El Bombay comes in. He cranks one 418 feet. 6-0. And it was on after that. A 6-0 cushion in 3 innings. As a pitcher, you just sit back and you go, we good. We good. And it gives you that level of comfort, and you saw through the rest of the game where Nathan was just in his zone. You even had enough of a cushion that when you brought in Chapman, who's been a little bit erratic, and he didn't have a great start, but you were able to bring him in and allow him to kind of have his a little bit. It's almost one of those deals where you say, you know what? While we have this lead, let's bring him in. Let's see if we can't get some pitches off him to get him kind of back into a rhythm. Because you're going to need him. Let's be honest. You're going to, at some point in time, you're going to have to go to the bullpen And you're going to have to pull out Chapman and go, all right, brother, we need the gas. Ain't too many folks walking around that's going to throw the ball 102 miles an hour. We're going to need you. But we're going to need you to get it over the plate. Some strikes. You got to be able to control the heat. So I think games like this, when you have that cushion, you can bring a guy in, give him a couple batters, see if he can't put something together, because you're going to need him. You're not going to not have him on your roster. And however you're going to play this thing out, whether you're going to get, however the pitching is going to work, you're going to have some games when you go to the bullpen pitching where you may have, you may even get to a situation where, give me the pitcher's name, two different color eyes. Scherzer. You may get to a point where you say, you know what? We don't know if Scherzer's all the way back. Here's what we're going to do. On the day that we go bullpen pitching day, I'm going to give you 2 innings. I'm going to give you 2 of the early innings, and then we'll go to our bullpen pitching. So at some point in time, you're going to have to do it. And I thought that was a great move by Bochy, just getting him in there, getting those reps, and then Leclerc came in and finished the deal. And that place was, I wasn't at the game. Tay was at the game. I watched it on TV while I was having stomach cramps. Struggling to fight for my life last night, man. I was fighting. I won. I'm here. I was fighting, boy. But that was an atmosphere that is, Josh Hamilton said it years ago, this is not a football town. I mean, a baseball town. And maybe he's right. Sports town. Sports town. I like that. Maybe not a baseball town. Very few baseball town. Like I said, very few baseball cities in the world, right? Like Cincy, St. Louis, New York, Boston. That's probably about it. That's really probably about it. Like, there ain't too many more where it's just like dominant baseball cities. So I get it. I understand it. But that place was rocking last night. So kudos to you, Rangers fans. Now the Rangers await the winner of the Minnesota Twins and Big Bro. Ooh, the Astros. Astros lead the series 2-1 right now. This is, let's just be honest. Let's be honest. Before I get to that, let me say this. I got to give another nod to Bruce Bochy. And because I'm big on coaching in the sense of making the right moves. I'm big on controlling the temperament of your team. I'm big on understanding what your players' strengths are and their weaknesses and trying to keep them away from situations where their weaknesses are magnified and putting them in situations where their strengths are magnified. And I think Bruce has been a picture of calmness, of fluidity, of patience, of confidence, of information. You don't win 3 World Series. Like Bruce Bochy, like his legacy is so far set, like he never had to coach again. Like when you get it's like Jimmy Johnson. Like Jimmy doesn't have to coach another day in his life, and he's always going to be talked about as one of the great coaches of the league. Because he won 3 Super Bowls. And I think Bochy's in that same boat in the sense of he's only padding his stats now, right? Like, he's only padding the stats. Because his legacy's already been written when you win 3 of those things. And when you win 3 of them, you're able to pull from that information, you're able to pull from those experiences, and then allow that to be the driving force and the foundation with this new squad. And I got to give him a lot of credit for that. Because there were some high highs this year with the Rangers, and there were some low lows this year with the Rangers. And then they lose their last game in Seattle at the end of the season, allows them not to win the West. But then from there, they won the last 5 games in a row. And I think in those 5 games, did they even trail in those games? Maybe 2 of them. Maybe none of them. Maybe none of them. One. So to get his team refocused and reset for the playoff run, to win the wild card and then win the first round, that's big, man. Tons of credit to you. Tons of credit to you. But now you got to get ready. I don't know how the Minnesota, if all things, if we're being honest, the Astros are probably going to win that series. I would love to have the least of the two, Minnesota, to make a better path to the World Series. But Big Bro coming. Big Bro is coming. Big Bro is coming. And Rangers fans, don't sell your tickets, because I've been around here long enough to know when the Astros come to town, they dominate our stadium. They dominate Globe Life. That shouldn't be such. Hold on to your tickets, even if they give you a better value. That matters. That matters in the grand scheme of trying to win baseball games. Any game, any sports game. The crowd can give you a ton of energy. But Big Bro is coming. And you have your chance. Don't do what the Cowboy did and say, don't make it personal after the fact. Make it personal from jump. From first pitch. Make it personal. You get that monkey off your back. Now we're talking about something special. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had that special baseball feeling around here. Over 10 years. The moment might be coming back. But it's going to take a level of mental fortitude, some skill, some will, maybe even sprinkling a little bit of luck. I don't believe in luck, but maybe. Because Big Bro is coming. And you know what that is when it happens with when Big Bro shows up. Either you show up or get the switch. If you play around with Big Bro, he go from Big Bro to Daddy. Niners are the Cowboys' daddy right now. Rangers, you got a chance. I'll bring back the Uncle Ronnie speech if I need to. I'll bring back Uncle Ronnie's speech if I need to. It didn't work the first time.
Houston 3-1 lead right now.
Houston 3-1 lead.
In the fourth.
Yeah, Big Bro's coming to town. Big Bro's coming to town. But congrats to the Texas Rangers. But you're ready for Big Bro. I believe in you. Moving on, I want to update you guys on a story that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Former NFL player, former one of my teammates with the New England Patriots, Sergio Brown. Weird story. Weird story about Sergio Brown. He's been in connection with the murder of his mother. And then Sergio began to put out these weird videos. And you could tell from the video that he wasn't in the United States. But as of today, when you read this, when you see this tomorrow, yesterday, he has been detained and booked in a San Diego jail. He was trying to re-enter the United States from Mexico just weeks after his 73-year-old mother was found slain in a suburban Chicago neighborhood. Excuse me. So the Brown was arrested Tuesday afternoon and held without bail on a fugitive arrest, the records show. Brown agreed to be extradited to Illinois during a Wednesday court hearing. The San Diego District Attorney Office spokesman Steve Walker told the Associated Press via email. So they caught him. In his two videos that he put out, it was a weird vibe. He was saying something that was a little bit off. But we'll see. This is one of those deals where his mom was killed on September 16th near a creek in Maywood, about 12 miles west of Chicago. Relative told officers that they could not find Sergio at the time. Now, Sergio said he thought his mom was on vacation. But some neighbors had said they seen him make a bonfire, burn some clothes in the bonfire. The medical examiners ruled her death a homicide and determined that she had been injured during an assault. So I don't know about this situation. This is a weird one because if it's me, and I don't know the relationship that he had with his mom, but if my mom was murdered or homicide, I don't know if my first thought would have been to take a trip to Mexico. That's just me. And I got a really good relationship with my mom. It ain't the greatest, but if something were to happen to her, I would probably postpone my trip to Mexico. Right? I'm not like, hey, well, she dead, but viva la Mexico, viva Mexico. So this is a weird story, but he has been arrested. He will be in court in Illinois, and eventually we're going to get the answers to the question: did he do it? Didn't he do it? But I'm not going to go into the whole CTE thing because I don't know if he has CTE. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know Sergio good enough to say it was CTE or not. All I'm saying is it's a weird situation, bad situation. Someone died. Someone died that didn't have to die. And someone, according to the medical examiner, did it. Who did it? Don't know. Hope we get the answers. But right now, they're looking at Sergio Brown being suspect number one. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And hopefully the answers come out. And whoever did it, I hope that she eventually gets to rest in peace because someone serves time for what they did to that woman. George Kittle, he's been in the news this week. One of the big topics that George Kittle's been in the news for this week, not the 3 touchdowns that he scored against the Cowboys, but after the Niners scored their 4th touchdown of the day against the Cowboys defense, George Kittle pulled up his jersey and donned a t-shirt underneath his jersey that said F blank blank K Dallas. That's what it said. It's how he felt. Well, in the No Fun League, in the National Football League, they're getting ready to fine George Kittle. They're getting ready to... Here's one thing I know about the NFL. They are looking at all turns to take some of your money. The NFL will fine you if you're not wearing cleats that's color coded to the uniform or predominant color to the uniform. The NFL will fine you if your socks are not pulled up. The NFL will fine you if your socks aren't showing enough white. The NFL will fine you if a certain color t-shirt is not matching. The NFL will fine you they'll fine you for anything and everything. For those of you that don't know, you're probably saying, well, how do these guys know about uniform infractions, yada, yada, yada. Every single stadium, at every single game, there is a uniform man or woman that works for the National Football League. And let me tell you how this works. You come out for pregame, right? So when everyone comes out, both teams are on the field, and this uniform person, man or woman, they have their notebooks and they're writing stuff down, yada, yada, yada. And then they proceed to give it to your team's lead equipment person or whoever it may be. And then that equipment person then comes back to you because after you get on the field, you go back into the locker room and you come out for the game to start. Well, they give you the note to the lead equipment person. Then right before you're about to go out, that person will stand up and he'll go, Jesse Holley, need to fix your socks. John Doe, need to change your cleats. So-and-so and so-and-so. That towel is too long. And then they'll run down what it is that you're supposed to fix uniform-wise. And then if you come back on the field and you're in the field of play and those uniform infractions that you were warned about pregame were not fixed after you came back out, you're going to get a letter from FedEx. And that letter is going to be from New York, New York. And that's going to be a fine. And you don't get a chance to even decide if you're going to pay the fine or not. They take the money. They take the money and then they let you appeal it. They take the money right away. But then when you appeal it, like most things, it takes them about 2 weeks for that money to get back in your account or sent back to you. So that's how it works when you guys are wondering, like, well, how does a person know that so-and-so and so-and-so, whether it's cleats, and I've seen guys determined to wear cleats, just cleats, pay $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for the multiple offenses. Well, George Kittle, and I like to believe that I know George Kittle just a little bit. I think he's going to be happy to pay that fine. I think it's going to be the easiest and the happiest $10,000 he's thrown away in a very long time. It has been national news. It has irked a lot of players on the Cowboys, which was the ultimate goal, that he was trying to bring back the rivalry from the 90s where another guy, Plummer, wore it in the 90s. Job well done. You figured you did it. If that was the attention that you wanted from that T-shirt, you got. And this is one of those deals where at the end of the day, I mean, George Kittle has well more than enough money to pay the fine by itself, but this is one of those deals where in the locker room, everyone chips in. Everyone goes like, you know what? On offense, hey, everyone give $1,000 and they'll pay for the fine. Or Trent Williams goes, don't worry about it, dog. I'll pay for it. I got $300 million. Don't worry about it. I'll pay for it. But George Kittle will probably get fined for that T-shirt. All right, heading over to the NBA. We're about, what's this? We're about 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away from the NBA getting up. Basketball is my favorite sport, ladies and gentlemen. I cover football. I played football. But boy, I love me some basketball. And we all know and understand that the NBA now has become a duo sport. If you can get a trio, that's even better. But we all know that now the NBA is a two-star per team league now. The days of you having one main star and a bunch of role players, there are some teams that still have that, but those teams aren't winning. Those teams aren't faring well in the run for the championship. If you are a true contender for a championship, if you are a true contender in the league, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, if you're going to count yourself in that number, the number is 2. And I got to have a star and a co-star. I got to have a 1A and a 1B. Because of having a 1 and a 2, that might not cut it. That might not cut it. Giannis kind of did it one year when it was just him and Chris Middleton and company. But he realized really, really soon it's going to be very difficult with what other people are doing around me. So I kind of want to, I found this article on SB Nation. I cannot pronounce this dude's first name. Vivacek Jacobs. And he listed the top 10 duos heading into the 2023-2024 season. Now, you may not agree with this. This is not Jesse Holley saying. This is an article that I'm reading. And I would love for you to type in, what are your top 10 duos? What team do you cheer for? Hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Facebook at Mr. Fourth and Long. Tell me what your top 10 are. Leave the comments on YouTube. Here's what they have. I'm gonna go 10-1 because one, I like to have the climactic feeling to it. 10, they're saying Joel Embiid and James Harden of the Philadelphia 76ers. Now we all know that James Harden wants out of Philly in the worst way. But you look at last year, Joel Embiid, 66 games played, Harden 58 games played. Joel Embiid, ultimately became the league MVP. He averaged 33.1 points a game. James Harden 21. Joel was averaging 33 and 10. James Harden was averaging 21, 6 and 10 last year. But coming into this year, they have them as being the number 10 duo in the National Basketball Association. Number 9, and I like this team. This team is a young team. It's an upstart team. It's a team that's really going to make some noise, I think, in the future. Light the beam And they got one of the best slogans in the game. Light the beam? That's hard. That's hard. Light the beam. Like light the beam, Grindhouse in Memphis. Like those are just some of the hard names. But number 9 is De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Last year, both of these played over 70 games. Fox averaging 25 points a game. Sabonis averaging 19 and 12. I like De'Aaron Fox, probably one of the fastest dudes based on the baseline with the basketball in his hand. Like it used to be like, I remember John Wall being like one of those dudes. De'Aaron Fox is one of those dudes now. And the Sacramento Kings, they made some noise last year. I think they repeat this year and build on what they did last year. This one, I don't know, number 8, some of you may agree, some of you may not agree. They say Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. These two may be the poster child or the poster children of load management. I think load management may have started with these two dudes. Definitely with Kawhi. Kawhi is the load management CEO. He's the president, CEO. He is everything. Both of these guys played over 50 games last year. 52 for Kawhi, 56 for Paul George. They averaged the same amount, 23 and 8. It literally almost the same, 23 and 8, 6 rebounds a game. Paul George averaged 5 assists. Kawhi Leonard averaged 4 assists. These two dudes, with the new rules that's coming along in the NBA, I think we'll see more. Well, I want to see more of Kawhi. I want to see more of Paul George. And this is what confuses me, because if you ask a lot of the young players coming up in the league right now, like high school and college players, a lot of them talk about Paul George is who they kind of model their game after. We'll see. Number 7, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Jimmy played 64 games last year. Bam 75. Jimmy's the heart and soul of that basketball team in Miami. 22 and 9, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Bam Adebayo 29 and 3. I like this group. I do. I like the culture in the Heat organization, but I don't think Jimmy and Bam are enough to kind of like Jimmy will you into certain games, but when you're faced with a team that plays with just as hard of a will as you have and more talent, you kind of find yourself on the losing end. And now when you look at what's happening in the East, you got Tatum and Brown. Feel how you feel about Joel and Harden, but now when you look at, and we'll probably get to them later on in this list, Giannis and Dame. I mean, you're talking about some real stiff competition right now that you're going to have to face, and I don't know if Jimmy and Bam are enough. Number 6, the Kang, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, to me, is such a unique situation. I think he has the best nickname given to him by Charles Barkley, Street Clothes. Because that's when you want to believe in Anthony Davis and he shows you a sense of just how good and special he can actually be, he turns out to be hurt. So hopefully he can play more games this year and really be a part of winning another championship for LA. But they got LeBron and Anthony Davis at number 6. Number 5, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think both of these dudes are super talented. I do. And maybe Tatum will be able to elevate his game even more and take them over the top. But it's just something about Jaylen Brown. He's just a little bit too erratic for me. I'm not going to get on the whole everybody talking about he can't go left, but that's a real thing. So they're number 5. Number 4, this is a legacy pick right here. This I don't know. We were talking about this before. I don't know if they're actually should be this high. I think what they've done over time, they've kind of given them the nod. But you got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, however you want to put it. Steph Curry played 56 games. Klay Thompson 69 games. Steph averaging 29 points, and Klay averaging 21. Yeah, I mean Steph, yes. Klay. Legacy pick. I'm going to say that. This is a legacy pick. This is one of they've done so much, and it says no pair in the league currently has accomplished more together than these two. Tells me all I need to know about why they got picked that high. That's a legacy pick. All right, here goes the top three, and this is debatable depending on where you want to put these top three, but I think rightfully so. These are the top three. Top three. Number 3, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Durant played 47 games last year. Devin Booker played 53. The Slim Reaper averaged 29 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Devin Booker, who's one of my favorite young players, averaged 27, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. And you're going to add Bradley Beal to that mix in Phoenix. You're going to have a 3-guard rotation right there where it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to stop that group every single night. We'll see what happens. But Book and Slim Reaper, that's an offensive juggernaut. Number 2, what I said their nickname was? Freak Time. Freak Time with a couple. You got to have a couple gyrations in there. You just can't say Freak Time without the gyrations. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. Giannis 63 games played. Lillard 50. I like this combo. I do. I think this is going to be a tough combo to stop. With the range that Lillard has, shooting ability, off the dribble, getting into the lane, and then on that pick and roll, Giannis rolling to the basket. Once he gets 2 feet in the lane, pack whoever's trying to guard him up. Because he gets 2 feet into the lane, he's either dunking on you or finger rolling around you or floating over top of you. It's going to be nasty business in there for whoever has to guard Giannis with 2 feet in the paint. And then, of course, number 1, the reigning defending NBA champions, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, who, by the way, when you saw Jokic walking in, for the team's workouts and all that, he looked like the most miserable person in the world. Like, all he wanted to do was just stay where he was at and horse race and party. He looked like, man, I got to come back here. Didn't look too happy. But they have them two as the number 1. Remember, give me your list. Put it in the comments. I'll give you honorable mentions for what they had. Honorable mentions: John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. out of Memphis, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving out of Dallas, Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, Minnesota. Anthony Edwards is my favorite young player in the National Basketball Association. My favorite. The New York Knicks: Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. Julius Randle with the new Skechers sneakers, with the Goodyear soles. Money is money. I don't know how that's going to hold up. Cleveland: Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey out of Oklahoma City, the Thunder. But those are your top 10 duos of the National Basketball National Basketball Association. I'm gonna end on these 2 last things. One, kind of throw my Deion segment in there. On this day, many years ago, Deion Sanders was the first player to ever play in a football game and a baseball game in the same day. Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta Braves. It's my Deion segment. Of course, and then Deion has some kind words for the Cowboys. He said they got to get them dogs. Them dogs got to show up. Them dogs got to put up or shut up. That's my Deion segment. That's it. That's it. And then Shador is valued right now. His NIL money is valued at $4.8 million. I ain't pocket watching, but I know why he does the Shador. I know why he does. This is the Shador. $4.8 million NIL evaluation. Arch Manning, who hasn't taken a snap at Texas, is like $2.3 million. Stupid. College money is crazy. I wish I would have had that when I was in it. But I want to end on this. For a lot of you who think you sit on the couch, you sit in your garage in your man cave, and you think, boy, I can do what these NFL players are doing. Let me be here to tell you that you can't. For a number of reasons. One, God just didn't give you the athletic ability to do so. And no matter how much you feel like, oh, I can go out there and I can just do this, you can't. You can't. Because if you could, you would. But you cannot. And this is not me taking shots at the civilians that are watching this because I love you. But I want to tell you the story. About 2 weeks ago, David Njoku, tight end for the Cleveland Browns, something happened at his home that caused a fire. And David Njoku was burned in his face and in his arms. And when you look at this picture that I'm showing you right now, I want you to see and understand. Look at that picture. And understand you're not as tough as you think you are. You have to have a certain level. Like, think about, like, Ronnie Lott. They told Ronnie Lott, like, either miss games with the Ronnie Lott said, cut it off. Cut the tip of the pinky off. Tony Romo punctured a lung and broke his ribs in a game. DeMarcus Ware was taken off on a stretcher 1 week with a neck injury, had a game-winning sack against Drew Brees and the Saints. Jason Pierre-Paul blew off three of his fingers with a fireworks. I'm saying all this to say this. I'm saying all that to say this. There is a level of mental toughness that you have to be able to attain to play in this league. This league hurts. And at no point in time, once you enter training camp, everyone's hurt. Doctors would equate doing a football game or a football hit as multiple fender benders. Now, if you went to the doctor and just had a fender bender, whiplash, whatever, a doctor would tell you to not do any no lifting, no heavy lifting, no physical activities for 3 to 4 weeks. Guys like myself and others, we go back out there for the next play. And looking at this picture of David Njoku just furthermore tells me that you have to be in and I'm not saying it's a good space to be in, but there is a level of sacrifice that has to be made to play this game. So before you think that, oh, I can go out there and run a route, make a block, throw a pass, do a tackle, know what comes along with that. Know what comes along with the fact of the matter is that someone may knock your head off. Know that someone may knock your meat into the dirt. That's a real thing. And that you have to get up the next play and go do it again and again and again and again for 17 weeks. So before you think about saying that, you know what, I can go and do that, understand that a dude damn near had his face burnt off. And he went back out there and played the football game. Crazy. Don't understand why I did it. But I'll do it again in a heartbeat. All right, man, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, episode 23. Like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Apple, Spotify, leave a 5-star comment, leave a 5-star thing on there, comment, do all that kind of good stuff, man. Let's keep rising to the top, man. Let's keep going together. We are in this together. You and me, us, we are in this thing together. If you know somebody that enjoys sports, that enjoys good, raw, I'm about to say raw hard. That sounds like a sex scene or something. If you know somebody that enjoys just the real, truthful, spitting knowledge of sports, tell them to find Unfiltered. We're going to give it to you the right way. Truthfully. No homer here. I'm going to give it to you honest. I'm going to give it to you right. But I'm going to encourage you in the same aspect. But remember, don't become addicted to problems. Count your dubs. Enjoy your dubs. Relish in your dubs. Allow those dubs to dictate your future situation. All right, man. I'm Jesse Holley. This is Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, man. Until next time. Never let anyone tell you that their life is better than yours because it's your life. Eliminate the contingencies.